All right, this is a tutorial of Chart.js, which is a simple JavaScript library for inserting charts into your web pages. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through how to get Chart.js set up. I'm going to show you a few different formatting options and cool things you can do with that, and then we'll go over some ways of allowing your users to interact with these charts and making them dynamic. So to get started, we're going to look at their docs page. They have good documentation on a bunch of different things, and it's all very straightforward if you want to read it. To get started though, we have to do a few things. The first is we have to insert a canvas element onto our page. Canvas is just an HTML5 element that allows you to draw in HTML, and that's what charts.js uses to draw these charts. The second thing we have to do is we have to import charts.js into our file. So we're going to do that using their CDN, which is right here. So we can just paste that in. And the third thing we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to copy this script for creating a chart right from their docs page. This will give us a good start, so we don't have to waste any time getting set up on the basic things. So if we save that and load our page, then we can see we've got their basic chart already loaded and ready to go. This chart is just showing, I think, people's favorite colors, how many times each color has been voted for. So it looks good, but it's still pretty simple. One of the things I love about charts.js is that it's really good for responsive web design. We can see that right out of the box, it automatically resizes to different browser sizes. So it's great if you're designing for mobile applications and want that responsive web design. Also, it's super easy to change anything about our charts. For example, we're showing a bar chart, but if we want to change it to a line chart, it's literally just one line of code we have to edit, and when we reload it, voila, we have a line chart. Same if we want to do a radar chart or other kind of chart. It's very easy to adjust, super straightforward that way, which I think is great. Also, right now we have just our labels and our data hard-coded, but you could of course import that from an API or get user data to populate those, which would be more useful in the real world. It's easy to adjust our background colors, our fonts, etc. You can see we changed that to a red, which shows up very nicely. Also, there's a lot of different options that we can read about in the docs that are easy to adjust. Charts.js offers several different kinds of line charts. I showed you the bar and the line and the radar, but they also offer pie charts, area charts, bubble charts, etc. And some of these require different settings to be configured, but a lot of them, again, it's just you just have to change that one line and they'll automatically adjust. There's other things we can configure, such as animations. You'll see that when I reload the page, these charts automatically spring up to fill their space, and you can adjust the duration and how those work, and you can even add callback functions to execute when those animations complete. You can add padding to your chart. You can edit your legends or titles, and it's really easy to do. If we wanted to add a title, for example, all we have to do is here in the options, we could just type title, and it's an object, so we could just say display true. Text is favorite color counter, and we want this to be positioned at the top of our page. And when we reload that, there's our title right there. And you can adjust the color of that or the font, etc. Very easy to do. One thing that I think is cool that they offer, when you're reading in the docs about a certain chart type, you'll see these properties, and you'll notice that they have this scriptable option. Some of these are scriptable, and what that means, if they're scriptable, is you can use a function to set the value of it. So for example, if we want to dynamically set the background color of these bars, we can insert this function, which is really easy. It says essentially, is the value less than 0? If so, show it as red. Otherwise, show it as green. We can reload that, and we can see, oh, look at that, they're all green. And say, does it really work? Let's change one of these to be negative. Yes, it really works. So that's nice, and that can be useful for a lot of different things if you want a quick way to visualize how you're doing. Another thing that I think is excellent is how easy it is to add user interactions with these charts and make them dynamic. Here are two functions in the docs for adding and removing data, and we can just copy and paste these into the bottom of our code. And they're going to take a little bit of work, but not much. So I've got some things pre-written out right here. I'm going to just paste in here. What we have is we have two inputs for number of votes and a category, and then two buttons to add and remove data. And so what we want to be able to do is type in our votes and a new category, say pink, and we want it to pop up as another bar showing how it compares to the other colors. So we can see that we have our ID equals category here. So all we're going to do is down here in our add data function, we're passing in our chart as a parameter. And here's how you read this. We have chart.data.labels.push. We can see up here in our script, we make a new chart, and we can go to our chart.data.labels.push, and it will push a new element onto the end of this array. And so we're just going to do that dynamically. So we're going to do document.getElement by ID category.value, which is the value of this category input right here. And then dataset.data.push, we're going to do the same thing. Document.getElement by ID, and that was called votes.value. And since it's JavaScript, I'm going to times it by 1 so that it knows it's an integer instead of a string. And that's it. That's as easy as it is. Now if we type in here 12 votes for pink, we can hit add data, and boom, a new bar pops up just like that. You can see the same thing if we do a negative, maybe for black, no problem. Dynamically updates. And the remove data, we'll just pop those off the top. And so you can see that works super easy. One other area of user input that I think is useful, but that isn't explained very well in the documents is, what if we want to vote for one of these colors? We want to say, hey, my favorite color is green. I want to add a vote for that, because we can't just type in vote 6 green. That'll just add us a new bar right here. So we're going to build in this functionality. So I'm putting an input for my vote, and I'm going to add a new button for my vote as well. And we're going to go build the my vote function. So down here at the bottom, it's going to look fairly similar. We're going to do function my vote, pass in our chart as a parameter. And what we're going to have to do is come up here to my chart.data.labels, get the index of whichever color we type into our vote input. We're going to get the index of that, and then we're going to come down to our data.datasets.data, find that value, and increment it by 1. So fairly straightforward, but I'll show you how we do that. We can say let vote index equal chart.data.labels.index of document.getElement by ID vote.value. So that gets the index of our color, and we can say chart.data.datasets 0, because right now we only have one data set, but you could have multiple. data vote index plus equals 1 chart.update. And now we can see, all right, if my favorite color is green, I can add my voice to that. No problem. And we can vote for a different one as well. So if it was yellow, I could vote. And look at that. You can see that it dynamically changes from red to green as well. So that's essentially an overview of charts.js. They have several different chart types. It's very easy to get set up and start using immediately, as you can see. They have some cool dynamic formatting options, and it's easy to allow your users to interact with the charts.